You wake in the dead of night, greeted by nothing but silence, no messages, no voices, just you and the quiet four walls. The world feels like it's moved on without you, leaving you stranded in emptiness. Each passing day without connection weighs heavier on your chest, and you wonder if this loneliness is some kind of cosmic punishment. Your heart aches with a hollow pain that whispers, "You're alone, forgotten." The silence is deafening. The emptiness, suffocating. Despair creeps in like a slow fog. But in this very darkness, something else is alive. What if this isolation isn't a curse at all? What if the emptiness is a crucible, and you are on the verge of a profound transformation? What if the universe set you apart, not to break you, but to remake you? There's an unusual ache in being alone. It feels unnatural, almost as if there's an error in the very fabric of existence. We are born into a world teeming with people, yet somehow you find yourself separated, detached, as though the universe itself has turned away from you. The silence can be overwhelming, the emptiness unbearable. You ask, why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? But what if I told you that this solitude isn't a mistake? What if it serves a purpose far beyond what you can presently comprehend? Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, believed that moments of isolation are not accidents at all. They are essential steps in the journey towards self-discovery. The universe isn't punishing you, it's reshaping you. The real question is, will you resist this process or will you embrace it? Initially, isolation feels like rejection. We equate loneliness with failure, with abandonment. You look around and see others flourishing in their relationships, surrounded by friends, family, lovers, appearing perfectly at ease in the world. Meanwhile, you're left questioning, why me? Why am I alone while everyone else belongs? It's easy to believe you've been singled out or forgotten, yet Jung had a different perspective. He believed that those destined for something greater often find themselves set apart. Not because they're undeserving of connection, but because their path demands it. These periods of profound solitude are not penalties, they are invitations, calls to explore the parts of yourself that remain hidden amid the chaos of daily life. Most people fear solitude because it forces them to confront their true selves, their inner shadows. But those who accept the call, who embrace the quiet, discover something remarkable. Consider the greatest thinkers in history: philosophers, artists, scientists, spiritual leaders. They all experienced phases of deep seclusion. Buddha sat alone beneath the Bodhi tree, wrestling with his own thoughts. Even Jung himself often withdrew into intense introspection, grasped the complexities of the human psyche. Why? Because real transformation doesn't happen in crowded rooms. It occurs in silent, uncomfortable spaces where you have nothing to distract you from yourself. The universe isolates those meant to awaken, compelling them into a state where distractions fade and self-discovery can truly begin. If you are feeling lost and disconnected right now, perhaps it's not because you've been overlooked, perhaps it's because you are being prepared for something that only solitude can reveal. But here's the true challenge. Most people don't endure this isolation. They succumb to despair, assuming that being alone means being unwanted. They mistake the quiet for emptiness instead of opportunity. Jung would argue that this is the greatest illusion of all. Loneliness is not a curse. It's a gateway to something deeper. The question is, will you use this time to understand yourself, to grow, to become something greater? Or will you let the silence consume you? The universe has given you this moment of aloneness for a reason. How you choose to handle it will shape everything. When you're isolated, your mind becomes louder, the constant buzz of daily life falls away, and suddenly you're face to face with thoughts you've long avoided. This is where most people falter. The mind replays every failure, every insecurity, every doubt. You start to feel as though you're drowning in your own consciousness. But Jung understood something critical. This process is essential. He called it individuation, the journey toward becoming your authentic self. Most people live fragmented lives, their identities shaped by the expectations and opinions of others. But in isolation, those external influences disappear, leaving only the raw, unfiltered you. It's terrifying, yes, but it's the only road to genuine self-awareness. Understand, the reason isolation feels unbearable at times is because it forces you to face what you've been running from. Maybe it's old wounds and trauma. Maybe it's the realization that the life you've been living isn't truly your own, that the persona you show the world is a mask. In the absence of distractions, your subconscious begins to speak. Jung believed that this confrontation with the self is the foundation of real growth. It's human nature to do anything to escape this discomfort, diving into social media, losing ourselves in relationships, in work, in endless busyness, anything to not sit alone with our thoughts. But those who have the courage to endure it, who sit with their thoughts instead of fleeing, emerge transformed. The pain of isolation is not punishment. It is purification. Yet, this is where many people sink into despair. Instead of recognizing solitude as an opportunity, they misinterpret it as rejection. They spiral into self-doubt, convincing themselves that they're somehow unworthy of love or connection. This is the greatest danger of isolation, not the loneliness itself, but the false belief that it will last forever, that you'll always be alone. Jung cautioned against identifying too strongly with suffering. Yes, solitude can be painful, but pain is not the enemy here. Pain is the teacher. The more you resist it, the more it will dominate you. But if you lean into it, if you welcome the silence, you'll begin to hear something beneath it. Your true voice. The individuals who emerge from isolation with wisdom and strength are those who come to understand its purpose. They don't see themselves as victims of loneliness, but as students of it. They use this time to reflect, to unlearn the lies society ingrained in them, and to reconnect with their inner world. This is why so many visionaries, mystics, and geniuses deliberately spent time alone, because isolation is not an empty void. It's a passage, a rite of passage that separates those who are merely existing from those who are truly alive. It may feel as though you've been abandoned by the world, but what if you're actually being tested? Throughout history, those who accomplish great things were often thrust into periods of extreme solitude. They were stripped of comfort, removed from society, and forced to confront themselves. This isn't random. It's an initiation. The universe does not grant wisdom freely. It demands that you prove yourself worthy of it. Isolation is the first test. Most people fail this test. They surrender to bitterness, believing life has treated them unfairly. They squander their solitude in self-pity, waiting for the world to rescue them. But Jung believed that those who seek truth must withstand the discomfort of loneliness. Why? Because only in solitude do you learn who you truly are. Without the influence of others, without the noise of everyday life, you are compelled to confront the raw reality of your own existence. If you are going through a phase of isolation right now, understand this. The universe has not abandoned you. It's observing, waiting to see how you will respond. Will you waste this precious time longing for the past, or will you use it to evolve? This is what determines whether solitude will break you or awaken you. Those who pass this test emerge stronger, more self-aware, prepared for the next stage of their journey. Those who resist it, who attempt to escape it, only prolong their suffering. You have a choice to make. You can perceive your isolation as a punishment or as a calling. If you find yourself alone right now, ask yourself, what is the universe trying to show me? Which aspects of myself have I neglected? What truths have I been afraid to confront? Jung believed the answers to these questions can only be found in solitude. This is why the universe isolates those it intends to transform, because only those willing to face themselves can truly change. Here's something most people don't understand about solitude. It doesn't just reveal who you are, it forges you into someone new. When the noise of the world fades, when the distractions disappear, what remains? At first it feels like nothingness, like a void, but within that void something is forming. Deep in the quiet, new strength is being born. Jung believed that deep within the unconscious mind lies a version of you untouched by society's conditioning, by expectations or fear. This is your true self, buried under years of external influence, and the only way to access it is through solitude. In our modern world, we are never truly alone. We're constantly bombarded with stimuli, social media, television, endless entertainment. These distractions keep us from ever really facing ourselves, but real growth occurs in stillness. Jung saw solitude as a portal to the unconscious mind, a space where your deepest thoughts, desires, and fears rise to the surface. Most people never reach this inner space. They're too afraid of what they might find if they peel back the layers. But those who do, those who embrace their solitude instead of avoiding it, discover something extraordinary. They discover power. Think of every major spiritual tradition: monks withdrawing to mountaintops, prophets wandering alone in deserts, sages spending years in silence. Why? Because isolation isn't about suffering, it's about unlocking something deeper within. Jung believed that within each individual exists a force greater than the ego, a connection beyond the material world. He referred to it as the collective unconscious, a vast reservoir of wisdom that lies dormant in us all, and solitude is one key to unlocking it. However, solitude isn't just about discovering who you are, it's about shaping who you are. When you're alone, there's no one to depend on but yourself. This is where true resilience is forged. You learn to think independently, to trust your instincts. You become the architect of your own mind. Most people go through life merely reacting to the world around them. They chase approval, validation, direction from others. But those who embrace solitude uncover something invaluable. They no longer need the world to define them because they know themselves. And so here you are, alone, seeking meaning in the silence. It feels unbearable now. But what if this is the beginning of something profound? Jung believed each person has a destiny, a path uniquely their own. Most never find it, too preoccupied and entangled in societal expectations. But the universe isolates you for a reason. It's compelling you to turn inward, to listen to the voice within that has long been drowned out by the world. Initially, solitude may seem like a prison, but those who endure it long enough begin to see it for what it truly is: a gateway. A gateway to a life not governed by fear, by conformity, or by the incessant need for external validation. Jung spoke of the process of individuation, the journey toward becoming your most authentic self. But this journey is not for the faint of heart. It demands courage, the courage to walk alone, to embrace uncertainty, to trust that the silence holds the answers you seek. The reality is that most people will never understand what you're experiencing. They'll advise you to just put yourself out there, to move on, to be normal. But you are not destined for an ordinary life. If you were, you wouldn't be here, in this place of solitude, listening to these words. The universe does not isolate those meant to blend in. It isolates those meant to awaken. It strips away everything familiar, compelling you to confront yourself, so that you may emerge stronger and wiser. So the question remains, what will you do with your solitude? Will you resist it, fight it, attempt to escape it? Or will you embrace it, heed its teachings, and use it to become the person you were destined to be? The choice is yours. But remember this, the universe makes no mistakes. If you find yourself alone right now, it's because you are meant to be, and what you do next will shape everything. We live in a world more connected than ever, a world where at any moment you can reach out and speak to someone across the planet. And yet, Loneliness is at an all-time high. Depression, anxiety, a pervasive sense of emptiness. Why? If mere connection were the solution, wouldn't we all feel fulfilled? Jung would argue that most people are not truly connected at all. They are merely distracted. They surround themselves with others not out of genuine connection, but out of fear of being alone with themselves. They chase validation, approval, a sense of belonging, anything to avoid the silence, and in doing so, they forfeit the one connection that truly matters, the connection with themselves. Jung believed that most relationships in such a state are built on illusion. People wear masks, play roles, conceal their true selves to be accepted. But connections built on masks are fragile, shallow interactions founded on the fear of being unmasked. This is why so many people feel alone even in a crowd. They are not truly seen nor truly known. And worse, they do not even know themselves. The tragedy is that most will never break free from this illusion. They will spend their lives leaping from one relationship to another, one distraction to the next, in a desperate attempt to fill a void they don't understand. Isolation dismantles the illusion. It forces you to face reality. When you're alone, there's no one left to impress, no mask to maintain. You are left with nothing but the raw truth of who you really are. For many, this is terrifying. It's easier to live in distraction, to find comfort in empty relationships, to evade the deep, uncomfortable work of self-discovery. But those who resist the truth merely prolong their suffering. They remain trapped in a cycle of superficial connections, never truly finding peace, never truly discovering themselves. The irony is that true connection with others can only be experienced by those who have first learned to be alone. Only when you truly know yourself, your fears, your desires, your strengths and weaknesses, can you form relationships that are real and nourishing. Only when you no longer fear solitude can you connect with others without losing yourself in the process. The universe isolates you not to punish you, but to liberate you, to free you from false connections, from illusions, from the ceaseless need for external validation. Because only when you no longer depend on others to feel whole, can you truly be with others in a meaningful way. There comes a point in deep solitude when the silence stops being peaceful and becomes unbearable. The emptiness feels as though it will consume you. Many spiritual traditions refer to this as the dark night of the soul. It's a period of immense suffering where everything you once believed in seems to collapse. It feels like death, and in many ways it is. But Jung would argue that this death is necessary. It is the death of the false self, the identity constructed out of fear, expectations, and the illusion of control. Only by allowing that false self to die can you be reborn as something greater. At this stage, many people break. They surrender to the darkness. They convince themselves that life has no meaning, that they will never emerge from this night. Depression, nihilism, despair, these are the perils of the dark night. But Jung understood that this suffering is not an end, it is a transition. It is the destruction of everything false within you, making way for something new. Those who emerge from this process are unrecognizable from who they were before. They are transformed, stripped of illusion, reborn with a clarity that few ever attain. Think of a phoenix, burning itself into ashes before rising anew in glory. Think of a caterpillar, sealing itself in a cocoon, dissolving in the dark, only to emerge as a butterfly. Nature shows us that breakdown precedes breakthrough. Likewise, your isolation is not the end of you, it's the chrysalis. It will break you down, yes, but only so you can be rebuilt into something magnificent. Navigating this stage is arduous. Most will resist it. They'll cling desperately to their old selves and old ways of thinking. They'll seek escape or distraction or addiction, anything to avoid the pain. But the only way out is through. You must allow the old version of yourself to die. Relinquish everything that no longer serves you, everything built on fear rather than truth. This is what Jung termed individuation, the painful yet necessary process of becoming your true self. If you are in this dark night right now, remember this: you are not dying, you are transforming. The universe has isolated you because it is stripping away everything that is not truly you. It feels unbearable now, but beyond this suffering lies something extraordinary, a version of you that is stronger, wiser, liberated from the illusions that once bound you. The dark night of the soul is not the end. It is the threshold of something far greater than you can yet imagine. Ask yourself, what if this isolation is not arbitrary? What if it is not merely suffering, but preparation? Jung believed that every individual has a purpose, a path uniquely their own, but most never find it because they're too distracted, too ensnared by the noise of the world. The universe isolates you for a reason. It is refining you, shaping you, readying you for what lies ahead. This is why so many great thinkers, leaders, and visionaries endured periods of profound solitude, not because they were weak, but because they were being prepared for something greater. Consider history's greatest minds: Jung, Buddha, Nikola Tesla, and countless others. They all faced isolation, rejection, suffering. But they did not allow it to destroy them. They wielded it. They let solitude sharpen their intellect and fortify their spirit. They transmuted their suffering into wisdom, their loneliness into power. The universe does not waste pain, and it does not isolate those destined for nothing. It isolates those meant for greatness. But here's the truth: most people will never realize this. They will squander their solitude, lamenting it and yearning for the life that was, all while awaiting someone or something to pull them out. They'll see isolation as a curse rather than a calling, and in doing so, they'll forfeit the opportunity of a lifetime. The question is, will you? Will you waste this time, or will you make use of it? Will you see your solitude as mere suffering, or as the inception of something extraordinary? The universe has granted you this moment alone for a reason. You are being molded into something greater than you were before, but only if you embrace the process, only if you stop resisting it, only if you trust that this isolation is not the conclusion of your story, but the beginning of a new chapter. The ultimate truth of isolation is perhaps the hardest to accept. You must walk this path alone. No one can undertake it for you. No one can give you the answers. No one can rescue you, and that is exactly the point. Jung believed that true transformation cannot be handed to you. It must be earned. This is why the universe isolates you, because only in solitude can you cultivate the strength, the wisdom, and the self-reliance required to become who you were destined to be. So many people spend their lives waiting for someone to guide them, to give them direction. They seek teachers, mentors, saviors, but the difficult truth is that no one else can complete this work for you. The most profound lessons, the deepest insights, the most life-altering transformations can only emerge from within you. This is why solitude is essential. It compels you to become your own guide. Yes, you will feel the urge to turn back, to go back to comfort, to escape the unease of being alone. You will long for the familiar warmth of companionship, the way a hurt child longs for a light in the dark. That urge is natural. But if you give in to it too soon, you will never reach your full potential. The universe has given you this solitude as a gift. The only question is, will you accept it? Most people spend their entire existence running from themselves. They fill their days with noise, distractions, and endless external validation, anything to avoid the quiet, because in that quiet they'd have to face the truth of who they truly are. But the universe, in its wisdom, has a way of stripping away illusions. It forces you into circumstances that dismantle you so that you can reconstruct yourself into something greater. This is why you've been isolated, not to weaken you, but to make you indomitable. Think back on everything we've explored: the illusions of connection, the false self, the hardship of transformation, the dark night of the soul. All of it points to one fundamental truth: you are not who you once thought you were. The identity you clung to, the person you used to be, was never the real you. It was a version of you shaped by external influences, by fear, by societal expectations. But now, all of that is being dismantled. Yes, it is painful. Yes, it feels as if you are being torn apart. But that is because a new version of you is emerging, one that is stronger, wiser, and no longer shackled by illusion. Jung understood that isolation is the gateway to individuation, the journey of becoming fully yourself. The reality is, most people never reach this stage. They resist their solitude. They fight the transformation, seeing only suffering rather than the profound gift it truly is. And because of this, they remain ensnared in cycles of distraction, never fully realizing their potential. But that is not going to be you, because now you understand the truth. You know that this isolation is not meaningless. You recognize that it is refining you, dismantling the parts of you that are false, so you can be rebuilt into something greater. So again I ask, will you embrace it? Will you allow yourself to be transformed? Or will you persist in resisting, persist in seeking refuge in the comfort of illusion? The choice is yours, and yours alone. Hear me well. If you choose to accept this process, if you wholly embrace this solitude, something extraordinary will occur. You will begin to change in ways you never imagined. You will develop an unshakable inner strength. You will become someone who is no longer reliant on external validation. You will cease seeking approval. You will stop craving shallow connections. You will no longer let fear dictate your actions. You will become something rare in this world, an individual who is truly free. This is why so few people attain true self-actualization, because the cost is solitude. The cost is facing yourself without distraction, without escape. It is gazing into the depths of your own mind and accepting whatever you find there. It is arduous. It will break you before it remakes you. But if you can endure it, if you can embrace it, you will emerge as something unstoppable. Look around at the world. Look at the people who have never undertaken this inner journey. You can see it in their eyes, the fear, the insecurity, the quiet desperation of those who have never truly met themselves. They conceal themselves behind noise, behind relationships, behind a carefully curated persona. They are terrified of being alone because deep down they know they are strangers to themselves. That is not your destiny. You were chosen for something greater. So seize this time, use this solitude. Stop resisting it, stop resenting it, embrace it. Start asking yourself, what is the universe trying to teach me? Who am I meant to become? What illusions do I need to release? If you lean into these questions, if you allow yourself to traverse this process fully, you will emerge on the other side transformed. You will become the kind of person who no longer dreads solitude because you will have discovered the true power within it. And here is the final truth. Once you undergo this transformation, you will never be the same. The things that once held you back, the judgments of others, the need for validation, the fear of rejection, will no longer have any power over you. You will be liberated in a way most people can't even comprehend. And that liberation, that is perhaps the most profound gift the universe could ever give you. Now the choice lies before you. Will you accept this path? Will you embrace this solitude and allow it to shape you into who you were always meant to be? Or will you resist? Will you fight it and remain confined in the illusions that once defined you? If you are ready, truly ready, to embark on this journey, if you are prepared to transform, then begin now. Begin by embracing where you are at this very moment. Begin by recognizing that this solitude is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of something so much greater than you can envision. If this message resonated with you, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video and share it with someone who might be wandering in their own darkness, someone who needs to hear this. Let this truth be the light that guides them. And subscribe to Echoes of Wisdom to join us on this journey of transformation and self-discovery. By subscribing, you become part of a community devoted to growth, and you help spread these ideas to others who need them. Remember, you are not alone on this path. We're walking it together, step by step. So hit that subscribe button, leave a comment about your own journey, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next exploration into the soul. Together, let's transform isolation into empowerment and help one another become who we were meant to be. Thank you for watching, and remember, the universe isolated you for a reason. Don't despair. Embrace it. Your rebirth has already begun.